Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Science Bridges, Building Connections for Equality in Science through Mentorship and Advocacy. This event is in celebration of the United Nations 7th International Day for Women and Girls in Science, which is being celebrated today, February 11th, 2022. I am your moderator, Dr. Marvadine Singh-Wilmot, and I am an inorganic chemist and an associate dean in the Faculty of Science and Technology here at the University of the West Indies Mona campus in the Caribbean island of Jamaica. I am joined on this platform by a number of special guests and partners, some who will be speaking directly to you in this program and others will not, but together we are welcoming all of you, and together we are sending kudos to all women in science all over the world and all girls in science all over the world. As we say here in Jamaica, in every nook and cranny of this planet. Today, we recognize your contributions, we celebrate your achievements, and we congratulate you for overcoming challenges and inequalities to share your talents with this world and help us solve our many, many problems. We are so happy that all of you, of all genders, of all ages, of all race and color, have joined us today. And indeed, it is inclusion, diversity, and equality that will get us as a world to sustainable development. Now, as I introduce you to Professor Michael Taylor, who is our Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology here at the Mona campus, I want to tell you that he is one of the world's most outstanding and influential climate scientists. I want to ask you to welcome him as he brings all of you welcome from all of us. Prof. Taylor, over to you.
Thank you very much, and good morning to all who are watching. It is my absolute pleasure as the Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology here at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies in Jamaica to simply bring greetings and welcome everybody to this event, acknowledging the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. The faculty and the university are happy to be adding our voices to the collective effort in and beyond our region, which today is drawing attention to an imbalance which should not exist. Good science does not know the difference between boy or girl or man or woman. There is no significant difference in ability between boys and girls in math and science. So it seems wrong, a little wrong, that globally it continues to be the case that by some estimates, less than 35% of graduates in STEM subjects worldwide are women, with even fewer in engineering and information technology. This should never be. Though in the Caribbean, the numbers may not be as stark, there still exist noticeable disparities and underrepresentation in some STEM areas. And there are still many who actively discourage girls from pursuing certain sciences and aspiring to certain STEM professions, which they consider not suitable for women. This day then is an important one, as it allows us to highlight the need to correct the imbalance in order to achieve full and equal access to and the participation in science for women and girls, and to achieve the gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls in STEM. If the imbalance is to be corrected and the mindsets changed, it will only be through deliberate actions and efforts. Those efforts must begin in our infant and primary schools, targeting children and parents, and then extend all the way through adulthood. Those efforts must seek to educate and encourage, must provide equal opportunities and access to learning and work, and must also offer mentorship and expose to role models. As a university, there are a number of initiatives we are pursuing to do just this, including the staging of this online seminar and the activities that will follow. One of the things we don't do well as a Caribbean region is highlight our excellent scientists, much less our excellent female scientists. And it is not because we lack a legacy to be proud of. There are many who continue to break stereotypes, distinguish themselves in all areas of Caribbean life and development, and who are actively serving as role models and mentors to budding scientists, both male and female. On this campus alone, currently 4 of 6 heads of science departments, physics, math, chemistry, and computing, are outstanding scientists who are female. The activities planned for today will allow you to meet and interact with them and their equally outstanding Caribbean counterparts. My hope from today is that as a region, we will be even more deliberate in our efforts to highlight our Caribbean female scientists, their accomplishments, as a means of encouraging even more women and girls in science. So I end then by echoing my welcome and echoing that science and gender equality are both vital for the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Today is about recognizing the role of women as agents of change to accelerate progress towards the achievement of the SDGs. I encourage everyone participating today, especially our girls, to get excited, to be inspired, to dream big, and to see yourself as those future agents of change for our region and for the world. The University of the West Indies is proud to be a part of this global celebration. I wish every success for today's events. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Taylor, and thank you for your welcome. And even more, I thank you for your continued commitment to equality. As he told you, everybody, Prof. Taylor has managed to build a science faculty management committee which values the talents of female scientists. And so in a time when women are missing from the top leadership positions in research and academics, 75% of his management team in the faculty here are female scientists. So thanks again, Prof. And we continue to work with you toward gender equality, inclusion, diversity in science. Now, Jamaica's Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has also partnered with us to bring you this event. They are represented on the platform here today. Indeed, the minister himself, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, is unable to make it, but we will now play a taped message from the Honorable Minister of Science in Jamaica, the Honorable Darrell Vaz.
Professor Michael Taylor, Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology. Dr. Marvadine Singh Wilmot, Associate Dean for Student Experience, Faculty of Science and Technology. Ms. Elan Shem, Executive Director, Elsevier Foundation. Professor Jennifer Thompson, President, Organization of Women in Science for the Developing World. Members of the Faculty of Science and Technology, distinguished women and girls of science, other specially invited guests. Good morning. Today I find myself in good company among some of the brightest and most accomplished female STEM professionals, as well as future females of science. Kindly accept greetings on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology and a heartfelt Happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. At this juncture, allow me the courtesy of extending my commendations to the University of the West Indies, in particular the Faculty of Science and Technology, on this initiative. The Ministry is pleased to be able to play a role in this commemorative event and looks expectantly towards increased partnership in the very near future. Ladies and gentlemen, what lies before us is a gender gap which has been endured for decades at varying levels of the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics disciplines globally. While there has been much progress made towards narrowing this gap, so much more is required to ensure the eradication of gender-based inequities, preventing our women and girls from realizing their full potential in the STEM disciplines. Today's seminar theme, Science Bridges, Building Connections for Equity and Science Through Mentorship and Advocacy, identifies 2 important ways we can all support the narrowing of this gap, whether institutionally or individually. Through mentorship and advocacy, We have the opportunity to groom and mold the future generations, to become avid contributors to science rather than mere beneficiaries. We have the opportunity to show them the importance of these disciplines to human survival and the rewarding careers which can be had. Ladies and gentlemen, if we were ever in doubt, the challenges we face today, as it pertains to global warming and the climate change issues, pandemics and novel diseases, and even threats to our food security, glaringly demonstrate the need to foster greater interest, opportunities, equality, and participation in STEM disciplines. As I close, I'd like to entreat us all to use our collective voices and efforts to advocate for female participation in STEM disciplines, but even more so, assist where we can in creating the necessary conditions to ensure they succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you and wish for you all a rewarding and engaging seminar.
From wherever you are, guys, I want you to give a round of applause for the minister, and I want to pull out the point that even though he has a previous commitment, he took the time to take this message. He saw it as important. And we want to thank the minister and his team for working with all of us in Jamaica as scientists and supporting the scientific enterprise here in Jamaica. We need young people to know that science and policy must work together very, very closely if we are going to achieve our developmental goals. We must also acknowledge the role of Jamaica and Guyana's Ministry of Education. In fact, we are joined by a representative, Ms. Noella Joseph, from the Ministry of Education in Guyana. She will bring a message later on. And we also have Dr. Francine Taylor Campbell here on the platform representing Jamaica's Ministry of Education. And Dr. Taylor Campbell has worked very, very closely with us to get our young girls in high schools across Jamaica involved in the celebrations today. So we want to thank all of you who are working in policy, and we want to expose all our young girls to science diplomacy and the business of science and policy working together. Thank you again, Minister. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Dr. Max Paoli, himself a scientist, a biochemist by training, and now he's program coordinator at the World Academy of Sciences, TWAS. He brings greetings from the Academy. Max?
Thank you very much, Marvadine, and congratulations on this wonderful initiative. This event looks absolutely excellent. So as you can see just above me, and as Marvadine said, I bring you the greetings of the World Academy of Sciences. However, please let me change this boring background to another background. And let me move to the side so that you can see better. So on today's occasion, I changed my background in order to make a point. I would like us to remember Rosalind Franklin. In the book that you see pictured here, she is named as the Dark Lady of DNA. But by all means, let's not interpret the Dark Lady in any strange way. It's basically because, unfortunately, partly due to her death, partly due, I believe, to the fact that she was a woman, she was not awarded with a Nobel Prize. But the truth is that Watson and Crick obtained the Nobel Prize for the structure of DNA only thanks to the amazing, groundbreaking work that Rosalind carried out. And I feel very close to her work because for many years, I used the same technique of X-ray crystallography. She used high-intensity beams with crystals and obtained data without which Watson and Crick could have not done what they did. So dark because she is or was forgotten. And to me, she symbolizes many women who, of course, are still alive, living today amongst us, doing excellent work, but not fully recognized by many of their male counterparts or by society at large. So with this message, I would like to highlight our commitment to celebrating women in science. And in particular, since I know them personally, I highly recommend to you two speakers today, Professor Jennifer Thompson and Dr. Ilan Shem. I think you would be honored to listen to them. So have a great event today.
Wonderful, Max. Thank you so much for that. Just short and very powerful lesson in the history of science and strong message about what women faced then and what women in science continue to face now, because it is indeed true that we have made a lot of progress as a world, you know, toward equality in science, toward gender equality. However, women still have a problem, certainly at the higher levels, and certainly, Max, in terms of membership in academies and awards. And that's why today is so crucial, and the guest speakers we have here today, because together they are working in these organizations, the Elsevier Foundation and the Organization for Women in Science in the Developing World, to celebrate women for their outstanding achievements in science. You'll hear more about that later on, ladies and gentlemen, but we certainly want to thank Max also for his role in getting this program together. He provides advice and connections to the people who would help us to deliver this very impactful program to you. And we want to send our thanks, Max, back from here in the Caribbean, in the region of Latin America and the Caribbean. Thanks to Prof. Mohamed Hassan, who is the president, and Prof. Romain Morenzi, who is the executive director, the entire TWAS family, in fact, for the continued work they are putting into promoting equality in science. I also want to take this opportunity, everybody, to big up, we say in Jamaica, big up my colleagues in TIAN, the young affiliate network of TWAS, and I know many of you all over the world are watching. Our TIAN members are out there. And I want to encourage our young girls who are listening on to look at the work of TWAS, to get involved in your science and look at becoming members of the Young Affiliate Network and the TWAS family. So now, guys, this celebration of this day started back in 2015 by the United Nations. And so it is very fitting that we have a message from UNESCO. We have a message, in fact, from the Director General of UNESCO, and this will be read by Miss Noella Joseph, who is the principal of Cyril Potter College of Education in Guyana, who is also representing the Ministry of Education here on this platform. Over to you, Miss Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good day to all, and happy International Day for Women and Girls in Science. Science is my lifelong passion, so I was greatly honored to represent Guyana in presenting the Director General's address. This is a joint message from Ms. Sima Bahu, Executive Director of UN Women, and Ms. Audrey Azoulay, Director General of UNESCO, on the occasion of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, promoting women in science to reach our full potential. The major challenges the world faces today, from COVID-19 to climate change, need our brightest scientific minds to solve them. However, only 1 in 3 scientists is a woman. This glaring disparity does not just hamstring our ability to find solutions to our common challenges. It keeps us from building societies we need. And the disparity is systemic. Women also remain underrepresented among senior scientists in academia. According to the 2021 UNESCO Science Report, they are awarded less research funding than men and are less likely to be promoted. In the private sector too, women are less present in company leadership and in technical roles in tech industries. The lack of equal opportunities in the workplace is driving women out of research professions. We must put the principle of equality into action so that science works for women, because it works against them all too often. For example, when algorithms perpetuate the biases of their programmers. Despite a labor shortage in this field, studies have shown that women account for just 22% of professionals working in artificial intelligence and 28% of engineering graduates. And when they found their own startups, women receive less than 3% of total venture capital compared to men. The first step to change this is to provide more opportunities in science and innovation to women. That is why UNESCO and UN Women strive to get girls into science education and to ensure their rightful place in these professions and industries. Last year, the Generation Equality Forum launched the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality. Its aim is to double the proportion of women working in technology and innovation by 2026, and to ensure that women and girls participate fully in finding solutions to the large, complex, and interdisciplinary problems we face. Doing that requires positive remedies for increased representation, as well as constant vigilance to uproot long-standing discrimination and unconscious bias. We are already seeing working together across the public and private sectors and across generations can bring about positive change, such as by eliminating gender stereotypes in education and putting policies in place to attract and support women scientists in the workforce. Science derives from the universal curiosity that makes us human, asking the questions that are common to us all. We urgently need it to build more inclusive, transformative, and accountable science and technology ecosystems that are free of biases and discrimination. In so doing, we will be able to accelerate the Sustainable Development Goals and address the challenges that impact us all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you so much, Noella, for delivering that message. Thanks to UNESCO for working on this with us. The team over there in Guyana, I can tell you, everybody has been so instrumental. We are just demonstrating the beauty of working together. We're working together across the seas, and Guyana has been an instrumental partner in bringing this program to you. So now, everybody, I want you to meet a young lady, Miss Alexis Liao. Alexis, guys, represents the future of women, the girls in science, in this region, and indeed in the world. She's one of our top performers in science in the Caribbean secondary examinations for 2021. And for our international audience, let me just tell you, this is a regional examination that students leaving secondary schools have to take. Alexis, ladies and gentlemen, placed in the top in many of her subjects. She was placed first in the entire Caribbean in chemistry. And like I said, in many other science subjects. And what is beautiful about Alexis, among other things, is that she's heading for a future in STEM, possibly as a research scientist. So Alexis, I want to welcome you. She's a past student, I have to say, of Immaculate Conception High. And I want to shout out to all of the Immaculate girls who are watching us today. She's now a student at Hillel Academy here in Kingston, Jamaica. Shout out also to the young ladies and men at Hillel Academy. She will speak briefly on what the International Day for Women and Girls in Science means to her. Alexis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So what does the International Day of Women and Girls in Science mean to me? I think, well, it means celebrating women in STEM fields, acknowledging the contributions, encouraging representation, and just generally inspiring women, young and old, to continue striving in science. I think having a day to turn the spotlight on the work of female scientists is so important, especially to aspiring girls in STEM like me. I think it highlights the value of our perspectives and that we can do just as much as men and even more. You know, we need those, or I need those role models. Young girls like me need those role models to look up and know that, hey, she can do it and so can I. I think sometimes women will feel like they must abandon their gender identity to work in STEM and adopt all the ways of thinking and the principles of men. But I think our gender, other than our innate brilliance, is what makes us so necessary to the fields of science. Our perspectives, our insights, our lived experiences are unique and specific. And I think celebrating this special day empowers us to keep going, you know, in the fight for gender equality in STEM and be proud of our progress. I think it's so important that we recognize the disadvantages of women as well, what we're put at, you know, the level that we're put at to begin, you know, the misogyny and the less amount of support we receive to study science, and just see how much we can still accomplish. I hope that one day absolutely no girls or women will have to fight for a seat at the table, but just be allowed to explore the sciences without the double standards or like a need to minimize themselves in a classroom full of men. You know, there are so many women in STEM in comparison to the statistics in the 40s, but there's still that need to keep striving for gender equality. I know I'm young, but I know that women have been disenfranchised for quite a long time and still are in a lot of places. And I'm just so thankful that I'm growing up with the support and the freedom to pursue a career in the sciences. You know, I really feel that comfort from celebrating a day like this. I also know my privilege has helped me to achieve my academic success in science. And I know that many women of color, women who grew up in LDCs and economically disadvantaged women have it harder to thrive in the sciences. And so I think it's so important to remind myself, especially on a day like today, that I'm fighting and making spaces for women of all backgrounds. I love that we have a whole day dedicated to girls and women in science. And I think, from my experience at least, that it will and does empower women so much more than the mere mention of Ada Lovelace or Marie Curie in our textbooks. You know, just the representation and the recognition does so much. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful, Alexis. I think everybody from wherever you are, you need to give her a round of applause. Alexis, you're a ray of sunshine, as are so many of our young girls in science. Those of you who are listening here today, I know feel exactly the same way. I mean, she spoke about not abandoning our gender identity. You know, she said she needs those role models. And remember, guys, just after this public forum, we're moving into the mentorship line, where you will get to talk with female scientists who are working in various areas and interact one-on-one. So stick around for that. We're so proud of all of you, Alexis, and all of our girls in science in this region who speak just like you. They're talking about bringing unique perspectives And we know this, that our gender identity helps us to bring these unique perspectives to help the mission of science, to help us to achieve the mission of science, which is to make people's lives better. I think all of us from wherever we are in the world, when you speak, feel the hope that there is for the future of science and indeed for the future of the world. And you will see later on, guys, we have another one of our young girls who is going to come and share with us that Alexis and Daniil, who is coming up, represent the out of many one people motto of Jamaica. And you will see the diversity in our people when you listen and see these girls speak. So thanks again, Alexis. At this point, I want to bring in another brilliant young woman in science, Miss Roxanne Francis. And Roxanne is in fact a lecturer here in the Department of Mathematics at the University of the West Indies at the Mona campus. She's also a PhD candidate in mathematics. Roxanne is herself a mentor to so many young girls here in Jamaica. And we invite Roxanne to introduce our keynote speakers on this occasion.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. Thank you so much, Dr. Singh Wilmot. And as Alexis says, today is a celebration. It's the day we recognize and appreciate that though science is mankind's greatest tool in enriching our experiences in life, its advancement would be questionable without the invaluable contribution of women and girls. We're able to celebrate because not only have we dismantled and continue to dismantle systems erected against equity for women, but we are a group of amazing and talented scientists making headway in our world. In our midst are two of those amazing scientists. We have Professor Jennifer Thompson and Ilan Shem. Their livelihoods and lives portray the kind of grace and grit the world needs in championing the causes for sustainable development, women empowerment, and innovation. I am totally excited to share in this space with them. This moment is just priceless. So permit me to share my excitement as I try to do justice to the lives they've lived so far. Professor Jennifer Thompson, PhD from the Rhodes University, is Professor Emeritus in the Department of Molecular and Cell Biology at the Cell Biology at the University of Cape Town. She held a postdoctoral fellowship at Harvard, was Associate Professor in Genetics at the University of the Witwatersrand, and made a number of other economic contributions. She won the L'Oreal UNESCO Prize for Women in Science for Africa in 2004 and has an honorary doctorate from the Sorbonne University. Her research field is one we can all identify with, that of genetically modified organisms, short GMO. She worked on the development of genetically modified maize, resistant to African endemic maize streak virus, and tolerant to drought. She has published 4 books on GMOs and is a frequent speaker at international meetings, including the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. And now, most recently, the University of the West Indies. She's a president of the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World and was recently awarded the International Prize for the Protection of Human Rights in Italy. Heartiest congratulations, Professor Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Jennifer Thompson. Now, Ms. Ilan Shem is a corporate responsibility professional specialized in building strategic, mutually beneficial nonprofit and UN partnerships. As the Elsevier Foundation's director, Ilan Shem drives technology-enabled partnerships to advance diversity in science, build research capacity, and support global health around the world. She's committed to supporting UN Sustainable Development Goals by building research capacity in developing countries and tackling health inequities. She has been an integral part of the foundation's growth since 2008, building on almost 2 decades of corporate relations and responsibility roles which focus on gender, research, and global health collaborations. In case you haven't noticed, Ilan is a force to be reckoned with as she continues to empower women and science and have the two empower each other. In 2020, Ilan was appointed Chair of Research for Life Executive Council. a UN publisher partnership to bridge access gaps for researchers and doctors in developing countries. Ladies and gentlemen, Ilan Shem. So as we continue to celebrate, let us welcome these notable women with open and listening hearts. And I do hope that we'll be duly inspired by their lives and thoughts. We'll be hearing firstly from Professor Thompson, after which we'll be hearing from Ilan Shem. Thank you.
I don't know if anyone backstage can hear, but
yeah,
Dr. Singh Wilmot is on the screen.
Okay, I'm waiting to hear.
I was waiting for Jennifer because she's such an amazing speaker, but maybe she's having a little bit of trouble with unmuting. So let me kick off.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you so much, Roxanne. Such a really lovely introduction for both Jennifer and I. So I do have a confession to make. So I'm not a scientist, but I have gotten to spend most of my professional life celebrating all of you. And that is just such an honor and a privilege. So let me share my screen because I have some things I'd like to share with you. And I also just want to thank all of the speakers, some of the really inspirational words from Professor Taylor, but also Alexis, and it just, it just really wonderful way to spend this afternoon with you. I'm based in Amsterdam, so good morning to most of you, many of you. Let me just start by giving you a little bit of background. So the Elsevier Foundation, we focus a lot on inclusive research. And by that, I mean making sure that women scientists, but also scientists from different racial and ethnic backgrounds, underserved youth, that everyone, that there's access to science. And so we do this through lots of partnerships. And today you heard from Max Paoli from TWAS. We work really, really closely, have for years, to forge partnerships together that will have impact around the SDGs, and now most recently, women scientists and climate change, but also with OWSD, or OSD, as they pronounce it themselves, the Organization for Women for Science in the Developing World. And that is really the power of what we do, is that we work together to and then continue to craft and continue to partner. And it's some of our proudest partnerships are represented here today. Some of our winners are represented here today within our awards program. So it's really a great pleasure and honor. And so what I'd like to do is to share with you quite quickly a couple of the partnerships we have. And the idea is some of these may be relevant to you particularly, you personally as a scientist, but others use it as a source of inspiration, because there are so many ways to highlight and celebrate women scientists, to open doors, to create role models, to create networks. new opportunities. I think one of the things I believe strongest is that often from a celebration, from recognition, the next thing happened, the next things happen. And this is all of us can play our part in this, whether it's, whether even if you are an early career scientist, there are those that are younger and still coming up the path. And so to reach out a hand and to find ways to celebrate each other is just so critical. So before I start, let me just mention that everything we do within the Elsevier Foundation is underpinned by a great deal of evidence and data. And this past year, 2 years ago now, things move so quickly. In 2022, it was the 5th anniversary of the UN SDG goals. And I wouldn't say we celebrated, I would say we marked it, because of course we're not on track, there's so much to do. And one of the things we did was to do an analysis. So as the foundation for Elsevier, the Elsevier Foundation, I am able to reach in and tap all the expertise within Elsevier, which is a scientific publisher, as many of you know. So I'm able to get that content, that data, that analytics, the networks, the professors, you name it. I'm able to bring what we need to the partnerships. In this case, we asked them to look at the body of SDG research and how is sex and gender integrated in that research. And what we learned was shocking. So before I get into the partnerships, I just wanted to say that this informs what we do, this kind of information. And what you see here is that most of the SDGs, the majority, have only single digits worth of sex and gender integration. This means that it's going to be a lot harder to reach those goals if we don't consider how women play into these things. How can you be studying things like no poverty or climate change and not understand the role, how it affects women? And so I have here on the right, you can see a cloud visualization of all the publications on climate action. And you can see that only 4% have even considered how sex and gender play into this. So I wanted to kind of have you keep that in mind, that we need all of your minds. We need all that brilliance, all that talent to bring your own experience into your science. So we have a range of partnerships. We work with girls. So for instance, we have a program with Girls Inc. in New York City. And these are very bright, motivated girls from very underserved communities, tough communities. And they're basically learning about data analytics through a social justice lens, so that they can understand how data is used to underpin policy and how bias creeps in. I mean, these are powerful tools. It's one I'm very excited about. And we've been working with them for about 4 years now, and they found a way to now introduce it beyond the program we supported across their entire curriculum, because these skills, they mustn't be siloed, they must be disseminated, they must be put in the hands of everyone, especially girls. I wanted to mention water first, because here's an example of a partnership which cuts across. It takes water scientists across Africa, brings them together. And the whole idea is to promote that Pan-African collaboration, women working together, publishing together, finding projects together to break through the glass ceiling, to create opportunities for themselves. And it was led by Dr. Jerry Richmond, who's just left the University of Oregon because she was invited to join President Biden's Department of Energy as the Secretary for Science and Technology. And she was also one of Obama's science envoys. I mean, really amazing person, Dr. Richmond, with a vision around mentoring women scientists in developing countries. So I mentioned, this is an example of the kind of thing you can be doing wherever you are, working in a cross-discipline manner to ensure that you're sharing best practices. Maybe you come from a policy angle, maybe you come from a sanitation angle, but to cut across and to see what kind of innovations you can bring forward in research and so forth. Moving along, so together with Max Paoli, we are just about to launch the Women in Climate Action Research. And this is all about supporting women-led teams to focus on climate change projects. And it's really taking the kind of research and making it highly applicable, because so often research is hard to implement. It's often a little bit misaligned with the reality. And so if you're interested, contact Max and I. You know, it's just about to launch. We'll run it for several years and hopefully continue a long way going ahead. And then the big thing I wanted to share were these awards. The Organization for Women in Science in the Developing World, Elsevier Foundation Awards. And why are these so important? Like I said, this is about celebrating. This is about creating those role models. And I chose this picture because you can see our exuberance. You can see Jennifer on the left-hand side, second to left, and I'm at the other end. We're bookending it more or less. And these were our 2020 winners just before the pandemic hit. But what I want to mention here is that it's been going since 2013, and we have celebrated a total of 50 women, 2 of whom I believe are attending today, in 20 different countries. And so you start to get a kind of density and of experience and sharing of best practice, and you start to really see the impacts of this. So I wanted to end and hand over to Jennifer, but first to spend a moment by thinking about our 2022 winners, and they were announced today. And we are talking about winners, women scientists, early career women scientists working in the areas of climate science and environmental science. And I want to tell you a little bit about them. These amazing women, they have explored like a range of environmental impacts and potential solutions. So turning waste into man-made soil, transforming plastic pollution into viable products for community trade, harnessing the power of microbes to improve carbon storage and soil quality, and using the right types of plants with roots to help prevent soil and encourage soil plasticity. So these amazing women, we are going to be celebrating them at the AAAS conference. Unfortunately, it will be virtual, but we will still make sure that we do meet in person, hopefully this summer, and we can really hand over these awards in person. But we have winners from Yemen, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Rwanda. And this year, for the first time, we shifted from a discipline-specific award program to SDG themes. So this year it's climate, next year it's food security, 2024 water, sanitation and hygiene, 2025 inclusive health, and 2026 affordable and reliable energy. So do look us up, OWSD or the foundation, if you're in these fields, and keep us in mind. Let me just do a quick call out. We have Miriam Mujo Maria from the University of Rwanda. We have Abir Ahmed of El Said University in Yemen. We have Gauzia Chowdhury of the University of Dhaka in Bangladesh, Hedy Calderon from Nicaragua, Ashani Ranathunga from Sri Lanka, and Flor de Mayo Gonzalez Miranda from Guatemala. So really incredible women. The press release went out today. Read more about them. And so I just wanted to end with 2 of our winners. And I just earlier saw Dawn Fox, our 2018 winner, an environmental scientist from the University of Guyana, and Professor Simone Badal-McCraith, our 2014 winner in medical sciences, who impressed us all at the time. And I think shortly after she won her award, she went out and was able to work with Elsevier and publish a book on pharmacognosy. Oh dear, I'm going to get it wrong. Well, you'll have to talk to Simone about that, but doing incredible work on medicines distilled from plants. So I think I'll stop there and thank you all so much. It's been an honor to join you today.
Thank you so much, Ilan. We're gonna go straight over to Jennifer. I have lots to say, and I see Dawn over there clapping, and all of us as Caribbean people and as Caribbean women in science, so proud. And thank you so much. We're going over to Jennifer now.
Great. I don't seem to be able to share my screen. It's done something weird. I sent the talk to you, and I don't know quite what's happened.
Okay, let me ask my technical team to come in on this.
Yes, I don't know what's happened.
little bit and come back to the discussion with our guest speakers. At this point, we are going to bring on Miss Danielle Nichols, and Danielle is another of our outstanding young females in science. And Danielle is going to talk like Alexis did. She's going to talk to us about what it means to her to be a young woman in science, but before, and what it means to her that we are celebrating an International Day for Women and Girls in Science. But before she comes on, let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a recent graduate of the Faculty of Science and Technology. She holds now a first-class honors in statistical science, and she's now working as a client insight intern at Jamaica Money Market Brokers, and she's moving on, in fact, as a junior quantitative risk analyst at KPMG here in Jamaica in the upcoming weeks. Danielle is an outstanding young woman in science. She has studied and will share with us on what this International Day means to her. Danielle, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh Wilmot. It's still surreal to me that I am here and in this capacity to share with you guys. Because, you know, sitting here as an early career woman in science, I feel inspired and I also feel inspirational. Because for my journey throughout undergrad, and even I guess we could start from high school, it was a bit different for me because I did go to an all-girls school as well. I went to Alpha Academy, but once I started UWI, I realized what would you call it now? The differences in how women approached science and how men approached it. So for me, I did my degree in the math department, and I would say that it has an even split as the guys to girls, but it's after graduation where you can actually see the difference when it comes to, you know, how people pursue their professional exams after graduation. I've only ever seen my male counterparts take that step. And that was kind of, you know, deterring to me, because there's a phrase that I've always heard, and it's, you know, you can't be what you can't see. And I didn't know what I wanted to be because I couldn't see it. So that's how I felt when I switched over to the statistics and, you know, venture further into the field of data science. But like, I'm very grateful to my lecturers who were always there to answer my questions about the field and just provide opportunities for me to grow. And as a young woman in science, I feel that's also my responsibility. I believe visibility is important, as you know, it reminds young girls that while you may feel alone individually, that collectively you aren't alone as a young woman in science. And I want to use my forum here to just encourage women not to downplay your acknowledgements, not to downplay your qualifications, don't downplay your abilities. You have every right to go out in the world and take what is yours. And what I love most about this day, other than just, you know, celebrating women, is that it holds me accountable and it holds other women accountable, that in the same way that women before us have gone and paved the way and, you know, just be positive role models, that I have this responsibility to do that. I have the responsibility to be what you can see and just open doors and create other spaces for young girls to flourish, not only in my field, but just, you know, in science on a whole. So as I said, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm just grateful that the faculty continues to provide forums like this for people to see themselves and just be inspired to go out there in the work world and just in the research world and just be the best young woman they can be. So thank you again.
Oh, Danielle, we want to thank you so much, and we want to thank you so much for the leadership and the example and the excellence, the confidence that you represent among our young girls who are studying in science, studying mathematics. You spoke about do not be afraid, you know, of our abilities. You know, that to me reflects your confidence. You say this day holds us accountable, and it's asking us to take our responsibility seriously. And I think that portrays to the entire world that the future is in good hands, in your hands and in the hands of your colleagues, because you guys feel the responsibility as young women in science. And we want to tell you all, we are so very proud of you. I am in particular not only proud of your talents, but also of your leadership, because so many of us are talented, guys, and so many of us can do for ourselves, but not many of us see a responsibility to others. And in order for us to impact the world, in order for science to serve its mission, that's to make people's lives better, then all of us have to feel and hold the responsibility that is placed upon us. We have to hold it sacred and take it seriously. And so, Danielle, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you for making us proud. And I say to all of you, these young Caribbean women in science continue to make us proud. You hear it when they speak, you hear the pride, the confidence, the responsibility, and you all should feel confident that the world is in good hands, in the hands of these outstanding girls in science. All right, I see now that Jennifer's screen is up, and I want to hand back over to Jennifer. Jennifer, are you there?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, and we're seeing your screen.
Oh, excellent. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what happened, but I do want to go through what the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World stands for and how we can help women scientists unleash their latent talents. And it doesn't seem to be moving. Here we are. So these are the programs that we have. We have fellowships for PhD and early career women. We have the awards, which is the Elsevier Award, which I'll mention slightly because Ilan did such a marvelous job of that. But one of the most important things is the networking that we do via our national chapters. But the most important thing, of course, is changing perceptions, which we spend a lot of time doing. So our PhD fellowships are funded by the Swedish aid organization. It's been funded since 1988 for women from developing countries, natural and social scientists. And the host institute has to be in a developing country. So we give stipends, travel, we give up to $3,300 for full-time fellowships, and we do part-time fellowships, and we make an arrangement with the host institutes in various developing countries that they pay tuition fees, registration fees, and bench fees. And here I just want you to meet as of the latest on our OST website. If you want to go onto our OST website, it's owsd.net, and meet our 326 PhD graduates and meet our 144 PhD fellows who are currently studying. This is a remarkable, and we've hardly had a single dropout. They are so motivated. And then we have the early career fellowships, which is not as old. It's just been going for the last 5 years with the Canadian International Development Research Centre. It was launched in 2018. And here we give them equipment grants, we give them research grants, because, you know, very often when PhD graduates go back to start their own labs, they really flounder, and we want to help them. We give them workshops in strengthening their leaderships, and if appropriate, to collaborate with industry. We also give them workshops in how to run a lab and how to order things from overseas and how to maintain their supplies in difficult circumstances. And so here again, meet on our website, meet the OST Early Career Fellows and learn about the impacts of their early career fellowships that they have, not only on themselves and the people in their labs, but also on the universities and the research institutes that they're working at. And then the awards, which we told you about, the Elsevier, and there are 5 per year, 4 regions plus 1. And as Ilan told you, that we're now based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and I won't go into them, since she covered that. And this is what they, the award itself is not the important thing. It's the implications and the knock-on effects, because in the early days before COVID, we could have the special ceremony at the AAAS meeting, which is the American Association for the Advancement of Science. And they've been in various cities. And the one that Ilan showed you was in Seattle, which was on the 19th of February, 2022. And we didn't know that when we left Seattle, it would close a week later. And these are career-changing events. Look at this winner from Malawi. She got an award from the president, Museveni, for getting an award from the Elsevier Foundation and OST. And here, more recently, when this Bolivian woman received the award, when she went back home, the president of Bolivia said, "I want to meet with you." And in fact, he said just for a few minutes, but it turned out to be a 1-hour meeting. And he promised that there would be an annual special day to celebrate Bolivian women in science. So these awards are amazing in the impact that they have on women's lives, and we try and show that how women are doing incredible work, as we've just been hearing. And that was one of our headquarters are in Trieste in Italy, and this is one of the early career fellows at a workshop in Trieste. And then the important thing is our national chapters. And currently, we have nearly 8,000 members from across the developing world. Members join OST and then the national chapter in their own country. And we have these national chapters in the various areas, which are Africa, Arab states, Asia Pacific, and Latin America, and the Caribbean. And there are 42 national chapters, but we have no funding for them. And they have to find their own funding, and they are amazing women. I've been to many of the launches and I've been to many of the workshops, and we encourage our national chapters to link to major organizations such as the national academies and research organizations who are able to help sometimes with funding and very often in kind. So for instance, the South African national chapter is linked to the South African National Academy, and the Kenya one is linked to the Insect Physiology and Ecology Research Institute. So those are the really important things. Now, I've given you a very rapid run through because of the problems I had with getting online. But you know, what Alexis said made me think that I wanted to just tell you one other thing. Obviously, we're trying to get this picture to have more women graduates in them. But I wanted to tell you what my experience, my personal experience, when I became head of the Department of Microbiology at the University of Cape Town. It was in 1988, and it was the best job for a microbiologist as I was before I went into genetically modified crops. And 3 men from the department applied for the position. They didn't even interview the men. They only interviewed me. But I landed up being the first woman head of a department in the science faculty. And when I was interviewed for my position, there were, it was in the apartheid era, they were all white males. And many of them didn't want me to get the job. And when I got the job and I took up the position on the 1st of April 1988, the women in the department just celebrated because they knew that this was the start of a new era. And I tell you, it was tough. It was tough being the only woman head of department. But of course, that's all changed now. But what I'm trying to get to you is what Alexis said. Have faith in yourself. And know that you are good, know that you are strong, and other people will recognize, as they did at the University of Cape Town when they only interviewed me for that job. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm sorry about the glitch in the beginning.
Oh, Jennifer, it was really worth the wait, and we thank you so much. And we want to thank Ilan also, you know, for bringing knowledge, bringing information about these opportunities and the work of the Elsevier Foundation and the OWSD, the PhD fellowships that are funded by CEDA, the early career fellowships. We want all our women and girls in the Caribbean and throughout the developing world to take advantage of these. We really do thank you guys for coming over. We do have Dawn, who is going to come up later with the proper vote of thanks, everybody, which I'm sure you will agree these two ladies really do deserve. And at some point, ladies, we are going to need you to come over here in person in the Caribbean and meet with some of these outstanding girls. Indeed, I hear you quoting Alexis, and I did hear Danielle herself also talk about not downplaying our abilities. And I feel proud. I felt so proud when I saw you put up, you know, Simone Badal-McCreath, our very own here at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, and our very own Dawn Fox, who are previous awardees. In fact, Dawn, I think, was the first Guyanese. Simone was in 2014 and Dawn was in 2018. So everybody, remember, you've heard it. It's the SDG themes that we are going to be awarding the Elsevier Early Career Women in Science Awards. Look out, position your work for these awards, and let's take advantage of it. Okay, so we're going to move the program along because we are running a little bit behind time, and we have the mentorship line coming up just after this one. But now I want to bring on Dr. Michael Taylor. Michael Ford, forgive me, Michael Taylor, my dean is still in my head, and my colleague and friend, Michael Ford, from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus in Trinidad. And I hope when you hear me talking about Guyana, Trinidad, you know, you recognize the way we have to work together in the developing world, including in the Caribbean. And we also have to work together, ladies, with males, because we are, for the sustainable development goals, we need gender equality. We don't need dominance of any one gender. It is equality, inclusion, and diversity. And so we are supported by gentlemen like Professor Taylor, like Michael Ford. And I'm going to bring on Dr. Ford, who's working over there in Trinidad and working with us. He's going to talk to us about our upcoming mentorship program, Walking in Her Footsteps, which is being launched today on the occasion of the International Day for Women and Girls in Science. Michael, where are you?
Thank you, Marvadine. Can you hear me clearly?
Absolutely, sir.
Wonderful. So I bring greetings from the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. And I'm here to talk very briefly about our mentorship program that we are running across the Caribbean, not only to celebrate this particular day, but to continue the activities throughout the month of February and also March and get more people involved. And the name of the program is called Walking in Her Footsteps. And this is a mentorship program that is really about inspiring female participation in STEM, that's research and development, and also to get excellence in STEM careers, right? So we want to support our young women and our girls by exposing them to various opportunities for careers in STEM, which is quite important. Also, to give them a first-hand experience of doing STEM in industry or in a research lab, wherever we get those partnerships going. And in so doing, attempt to inspire them to continue in STEM and to become leaders through sharing of their experiences, and to also get practical advice from their mentors, who are people that they would be able to keep in touch with, and also they would be able to continually get some information from and be mentored by, and these may be people that they can look up to. Now, to do that, of course, we do need a deeper understanding of work-life balance. So that's part of the program and part of the discussions that we'll be having, and also to build pride and confidence in the girls to choose STEM careers. Because as we know, at the university, we have to encourage our young women, encourage girls from secondary school, even from the primary school level, to choose STEM and to continue in STEM. And of course, finally, to provide those opportunities to build bridges, which we think is particularly important because many of our young girls and women will actually be coming to the university to do STEM. So it's good to have a point of reference. This program has two types of interaction. First, the virtual or online space will be used to have meetings between the mentees and STEM professionals. And these meetings, of course, are introductory, but also will help them to map out what the shadowing experience will be. And the shadowing experience is the second part of that interaction, where young women and girls will get the opportunity to go to the workplace or to the research lab of a STEM professional and follow them around for a day and have discussions and be part of activities and see what it is like to be a woman in STEM on the ground, a real first-hand experience. And those activities will happen through the month of February and March. And I'm pleased to say that we have a number of partners in several places in Jamaica, of course, the University of the West Indies Mona campus, as well as the St. Augustine campus. And hopefully we'll have a full confirmation of the campus at Caville, and that will, I suppose, a lot of young girls will be involved in research activities across different departments: chemistry, life sciences, maths and stats, etc. We have in Jamaica also the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing on board. That's in Northern Caribbean University. Private sector partners, for example, de la NZ Essentials, also the public sector organizations. You've heard from them today as well, and they will also be involved: Ministry of Science and Energy and Technology, National History Museum. In Guyana, of course, the University of Guyana will be involved, and we have Dr. Fox here as well as representative from University of Guyana, the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, the Guyana chapter. And we are still open, folks, to have other persons involved from the public sector, the private sector, from educational institutions to get this program to reach even more folks. And of course, we're aiming to reach as many young women and girls as we can within the period. And we do look forward to working with them and also to continuing working with you to make this a success, and also to get those young women and girls into science and into careers in science after they do, of course, their formal studies and qualifications in science. So we wish you all the best. I've had a wonderful seminar so far, and we do hope that you will get involved. You will contact Marvadine and others and get involved in the various activities and programs, and make best use of all of these opportunities that are available for young women and girls in science and technology. Thank you, Marvadine. I now hand back to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. So there you have it, everybody, walking in her footsteps. So we are continuing, and I really want everybody to understand how collectively we have to work together. There are no boundaries if science is to serve its mission. We all have to work together, and as Caribbean islands, clearly we are doing that. We're not doing too badly at that, are we? Don and Michael. Avril is also here. I also want to call out the Michael University College here in Jamaica. Dr. Joy Baker Gibson is representing, and Dr. Camilla Hilton from the University of Technology here in Jamaica. Dr. Nicole White, you mentioned the College of Applied Sciences there at Northern Caribbean, who is also on the platform, everybody. Just want to present to you that the approach of collaboration in order to achieve the mission of science is alive and well among us. Okay, we are running a little bit behind time. Like I said, those of you, all the students who are waiting to go into the networking sessions with our outstanding women in science, hold on a little bit and let us bring on Dr. Dawn Fox to do the vote of thanks and give her closing remarks. We saved possibly the best for last, eh, Dawn? Because Dawn is one of our outstanding Caribbean women in science. And Dawn is working, in fact, on cleaning up water. She calls it her trash to treasure lab over there in Guyana. And it turns out that today, when we're celebrating equality in science, the theme of water is also strong in today's celebration. So it's appropriate that we close with Dawn because of the work that she's doing, but also because in 2018, she was the Elsevier, she was one of the early career awardees of the Elsevier Foundation Award for Early Career Scientists, and she's the first Guyanese to have got that award. We have worked on so many things together, Dawn and I, and we have a lot more work to do. I am going to say, from my part, And from the team here in Jamaica, I want to say thank you. It's been great spending this morning with you, ladies and gentlemen. I would spend the entire day or even the weekend, but we've got to go on to some other things. So I thank you from my part and leave you over into the hands of Dr. Dawn Fox.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marvadine Singh-Wilmot. What a warm welcome. And thank you for involving us, University of Guyana, CAS Guyana chapter, and our students from Guyana in this really inspiring session. So I just want to say good morning to everyone. It might be afternoon. I know the different time zones. Good day and happy International Day for Women and Girls in Science 2022. Greetings from sunny Guyana, the University of Guyana, and the Guyana chapter of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. Today, we take time out to reflect on and honor the achievements of women scientists leading the way before us, also to strengthen our resolve to advance with our own work and to encourage and engage the next generation of women scientists. Today, it is also fitting to give thanks for the communities of support that make our science journeys possible. I wish to say a special thank you to the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World and the Elsevier Foundation, ably represented by Ms. Ilan Shem, Director, and Professor Thompson, of whom we just heard from, about the OST Elsevier Foundation Early Career Award for Women Scientists in the Developing World. You've heard that this award recognizes achievements of outstanding women researchers that have made significant contributions to advancing science, and often against terrible odds, against significant challenges. So thanks to Dr. Singh-Wilmot, you also heard that in 2018, I was so honored to receive this award. I must share that I was so excited when I first got the news. I couldn't wait to tell my husband, Mr. Terence Fox, because we find that oftentimes our strongest, longest, and most avid supporters are our families. So they too deserve to be thanked. The award brought visibility and recognition, which not only opens doors in terms of making connections in your field and also for professional advancement, promotion, but also it strengthens your voice as a scientist. So I have a stronger voice now to promote science and also for science advocacy and to encourage younger scientists. The award also supported me in a more tangible way in that I was able to actually financially support some of my undergraduate student researchers and also to make attendance at international conferences more accessible. So I think it's only fitting. I mean, it's 4 years on and it still remains a highlight, a high point in my life. It's only fitting that I record that deep appreciation. Thank you for being a part of my science story. As we bring this celebration to a close, this part of the celebration to a close, I wish to record our thanks to a veritable community of special people and organizations who have made this event an inspiring success. So I wanted to start off with our speakers on the program, beginning with all the warm and encouraging greetings. First from Professor Michael Taylor, Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology at UWI MonaMedia, Jamaica. The message from the Honorable Darrell Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology in the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology in Jamaica. Dr. Max Paoli, Program Coordinator from the World Academy of Science in Italy. Thank you so much for those warm greetings. We also heard from the message from the Director General, UNESCO Headquarters. Thank you to Ms. Noella Joseph, the principal of our very own Cyril Potter College of Education in Guyana. Thank you. We heard, I think, a very fiery and a very inspiring, we heard two very fiery and inspiring speeches from the next generation. We have seen the future, and it takes the shape of Miss Alexis Leon and Miss Denise Nichols. Alexis, our female top performer for CSEC in Jamaica in chemistry, and Miss Denise Nichols, an actuarial science graduate from the Department of Mathematics in UWI, Jamaica. Thank you for that message. Those messages, I am so encouraged, and I know the future looks bright. We also heard from Ms. Roxanne Francis, a PhD candidate and lecturer in the Department of Mathematics at UWI Mona. what a bright introduction to our distinguished keynote speakers. Thank you, Ms. Francis. And the meat of the program, thank you so much to Ms. Ilan Shem, Director of the Elsevier Foundation, and to the Professor Jennifer Thompson, President of OST, for highlighting in even though, you know, a capsule, the beauty of the important work that both of your organizations do. I'm happy to mention that I involved in a tiny way in helping with the selection for the PhD award. So thank you for involving me in that. And our final speaker for the day, Dr. Michael Ford from the Faculty of Science and Technology at UWI St. Augustine in Trinidad and Tobago, for launching the Walking in Her Footsteps mentorship program. I can't wait to get involved with that. Also, we owe thanks to Ms. Jody Ann Reed, Senior Director, Corporate Communications and Public Relations at the Ministry of Science, Environment and Technology in Jamaica, the Ministry of Education and Youth in Jamaica, especially Dr. Francine Taylor Campbell, the Educational Officer, the Ministry of Education in Guyana, especially Ms. Keeza Johnson Richards, who's responsible for our students being here to attend, the St. Augustine, Cave Hill, and Five Islands campuses of the University of the West Indies, my alma mater and home university, the University of Guyana, the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Guyana and Jamaica chapters, the University of Technology, my co-university college, and Northern Caribbean University in Jamaica. The student experience team in the Faculty of Science and Technology at UWI Mona, led by Associate Dean Dr. Marvadine Singh Wilmot. And please indulge me for asking for a round of applause. Marvadine, excellent job. I really enjoyed today. Could we share a round of applause for her leadership? Special thanks to Mrs. Terry-Ann Collins-Frey, Visibility and Engagement Officer in the Faculty of Science and Technology and the Departmental Student Experience Liaisons, Dr. Charles Stewart from Biochemistry, Dr. Joyanne Marks from Chemistry, Dr. Sean Miller from Computing, Dr. Shanika Lester, Geography and Geology, Ms. Claudia Lewis, Life Sciences, Ms. Roxanne Francis, Mathematics, and Dr. Tanya Kerr from Physics. And last, but perhaps most importantly, a warm thank you to all of our viewers, students and teachers from all over the Caribbean and the world, scientists, public officials, and members of the public who have tuned in. Thank you for making today really memorable. As we close off, I would like to remind everyone to join the mentorship line that happens immediately after we close. And there's a room for each area of study in the sciences, including engineering, and links will be placed in the chat. Thank you all. Happy International Day for Women and Girls in Science. Goodbye.